Hi, I'm Mara Webster with Creative Company, and thank you so much for joining us for one of our talks today. I'm so thrilled today to be joined by the fantastic Julian Lerner to talk all about his current television series, The Wonder Years. And the first thing I actually wanted to talk about is your audition for the show, and I was interested in what was the scene that you ended up auditioning from, particularly if it was from the pilot, and from that, what were some of the first things that you started to learn and understand about your character in the series?
Well, the audition process was during COVID and quarantine, so it was all on Zoom, right? And basically, we did the chemistry read, and they gave me like three scenes, like, all different scenes to learn about my character, different character traits, and I think I was able to learn about Brad and how he's a good friend. He loves his friends. He's funny, and he's just up for anything. Really, he's just a great person.
He is. And obviously you're filming a show that is a period piece. And so did you find it helpful to do a lot of elements of research, and what were some of the things that you were really looking into to understand your character better for the fact that he's existing in this time period piece?
Right. I mean, the first thing I did was I binge watched the original series, which is amazing. I mean, I really could relate to the kids in a big way. When they laughed, I laughed. When it was awkward, I think I could definitely relate. Maybe you could relate too. And I mean, when the drama hits, it really hits hard. I learned, more about the 60s in school, and then my parents taught me about how relevant the civil rights movement is still today, just as it was back then. So that's really how I learned back then.
Yeah. And there's, I've only seen the first episode so far, which is just about to air, but there's so many political moments even within that. And the first episode that airs has the death of Martin Luther King in it. And so I'm imagining that the rest of the season equally has a lot of prominent moments in history. And so as you get all of the scripts, do you find that you keep kind of going back and researching all of the different details that each script is talking about?
Yeah, of course. I mean, stories matter, history matters, representation matters, and it's so cool to, have that opportunity that the show gives me to learn more about the history of our country, and I really hope that the audience can really, learn about it too and grow with us.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. And you have the fantastic Fred Savage, talking of the original, who directed that first episode as well. Were there things that he was able to share about his experience from working on the show that was really helpful for you coming into this?
Yeah, and of course. I mean, it's great to have someone like Fred who has experienced it, like experienced what we're experiencing right now. He just brings so much joy and happiness. And as you said, it is really amazing to learn from him. He's just a great person overall, and he really helps me find like the right energy for that scene or the moment that my character has in that episode.
Yeah. And I also wanted to ask about some of the conversations that you had early on with Saladin Patterson, who is the creator and writer and executive producer of the show. And were there things that Saladin was able to really give you in terms of details that helped you to understand, either your character or what this show was going to be?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the show is really kind of based on his life. So he really kind of he's experienced some of this stuff, right? So he's like you can do this because this happened back then, right? When I was a kid. So I know exactly how you want to, and I want you to act it, which really helps. He gave me great advice, and he's just same like Fred. He's just a great person, and I'm so lucky to have him.
And obviously, whenever you start a TV show, you're in the middle of production right now, literally sitting in a trailer, probably going to set any moment. You never have all of the scripts at the beginning, and you never have the whole journey for a character. So it's a totally different experience as an actor. How much information did you have when you started this project, and how many of the scripts were you able to have access to at the beginning?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, I really had access to three scenes. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like in a movie, you have like maybe a couple months to kind of get yourself into the character, which is still really really fun, right? But with the TV show, knock on wood, you have a couple years and stuff to really dig in and dive into that character and learn more about the person you are portraying and going for.
Yeah. And it's also really great because you've got really fantastic cast members who are your peers as well. And I'm sure that there's also been a lot of times where you've been on sets where you're possibly one of the only, if not the only young performer that's there. And so how is it a different experience for you working on a show like this and really having that opportunity to spend so much time with your peers on set as well?
It's great. It really is great. It's so good to have people my age who I can like relate to. We can all learn from each other, and just it's a great. We really all clicked, which is really really good on set. I think we all just feel like a family. So
Yeah. And obviously, filming right now is very different from what it was previously because of
definitely.
COVID safety protocols. And within that, I was interested though because I think it's taken away a lot of opportunity for rehearsals and being able to spend as much time with your castmates before you're shooting scenes. And so, has that been the experience on this show that there's a little bit less time, so you have to kind of find a lot of the elements of a scene as you're filming it?
Yeah, I mean, me and Milan and Amari and EJ came to set early. Like we came to Atlanta early so we could practice like the first couple episodes with Fred, which was great because we had like a good bonding moment, and we were so lucky to have that opportunity to really, like get in sync in the first couple episodes. And I mean, we all have so much support, which really helps a lot too.
Yeah, and with Alicia Williams in particular, because you're playing one of Dean's best friends in the show, did the two of you talk at all? Is it helpful for the two of you to have conversations about what's their backstory, what type of friendship do they have, how long have they known each other, kind of how close are they to each other's parents and families, and those sorts of details?
Yeah, I mean, me and EJ, we have a great relationship on and off set, and I think having a good relationship in like real life, it really shows on camera. So I think, just as I said earlier, I'm really lucky to have somebody my age
Yeah.
to relate to.
And there's so much, even just in those first few scenes that we've seen you in so far, you've got some really great comedic one-liners and comedic moments. And from your previous performances, you've done some really fantastic work within comedy already throughout your career. Did you find it easy to find what the comedy was going to be within this show and what your character's comedic voice was?
Yeah, I mean, I love comedy and I love finding the comedic moments inside of like the dramatic moments. That's like one of my favorite things to do, and it's just great to have that challenge to make people laugh and stuff.
Yeah. And there's that really great funny line in the first episode where there's a voiceover saying that your character to Dean is like the Pee Wee Herman to his Jackie Robinson if Pee Wee was Jewish and if Jackie Robinson couldn't catch a fly ball. When you went through the scripts, were there a lot of details like that kind of gave you a lot of information about your character and what this friendship dynamic was going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually Jewish. I'm Jewish, so and that immediately struck a chord for me there. I knew I could just bring some of myself into Brad,
Yeah.
which
I
was
think
really
there's
helpful.
there's also already been reference to kind of like your character's relationship and rapport with Dean's sister as well. Is there a lot of has there been a lot of opportunity in the episodes that you filmed so far for the two of you to kind of work together and play off some of that a little bit more?
I mean, I think in some of like the later episodes, it's definitely gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, I kind of have like this thing for his sister, so hopefully that becomes bigger. It'd be really funny. I think it'll work really well.
What have been some of the challenging aspects of kind of finding your character and work, or particular scenes that you've worked on so far that have been a little bit challenging? Because as an actor, every single project, is such an exciting new adventure, but every single one comes with new and interesting challenges.
I think it's pretty fun to have those challenges. It's great to learn, and I learned so much on this set because there's all this historic moments and everything like that. Oh wow, like I have this line. I don't know what it means. Let me look it up. I've learned something new, right? That's such a cool thing for me to have, and a great challenge. But I think everything's just really really fun.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you feel that you've had the opportunity to learn, particularly from the other cast members that you've been working with so far on the series?
Well, I think we all are really learning about like the civil rights movement a lot, and I think, as I mentioned earlier, again, I mean, it's really still relevant now as it was back then, and it's great to put that out there in the world because this haven't really been done before, right? So it's great to show people and teach people more about this type of culture and this type, of like our country, basically.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see all of the rest of the storylines that we get to see with your character throughout the rest of the season. And thank you so much for talking to us literally in the middle of shooting scenes for the show,
Of
Julian.
course, thank you.